Hey guys, welcome to Mark's TV. Today we're going to be looking at the Garmin Striker Vivid 9 SV traditional sonar. I'm going to be diving into the settings and all the different things you can change to make this look exactly how you want it to look. That being said, I'm not going to tell you how to set up your own sonar. I'm going to let you decide how to do that, but I am going to dive into all the different options and how much we can change this traditional sonar. So let's get into it. Alright guys, we got the traditional sonar pulled up, so we're going to dive into the settings. So what we can do is press our three little line button here. Okay, first thing that we can change here obviously is the range. So if you want to, you can set that to whatever you want. If you know you're going to be fishing in a certain depth of water, you could set it to that range. But I will show you, we'll start with the gain over here. So if we can click that. So there's got a few settings for auto that you can choose. You can also come over and just manually adjust it yourself. And so if I go down rather quickly, you can see, okay, we're hardly picking up anything. So if we adjusted our gain down really low, what we're going to be able to do is if you had a whole lot of clutter on the screen, you could reduce that to a minimum. So now we're just picking up the hardest returns, or the most return that we're getting. Now we could go all the way up to full. Now if you look at this, we have a lot of clutter on the screen, right? We're getting returns even just in the water itself. So this is probably too much. Okay, and that being said, you can adjust it to where you want it. So you kind of want to find somewhere that works for you. So you might bring it back down just a little bit just to get rid of that clutter, but still pick up as much as you can. So maybe somewhere like that. Okay, the other option is you could try to use the auto features. Now, if you noticed earlier, we have three features. So maybe you don't like the medium, maybe you want the high to get as much, to pick up as much items as you can. And so you could do that. You could go medium, high, low, whatever you wanted. But you can also adjust that contrast manually over here just by going to the left and up or down. And so when you might have to use the manual, let's say you're switching bodies of water, maybe you went to a really dirty part of the lake, something like that, you may have to change your gain to match that body of water. So that being said, that's kind of what the gain is going to adjust for you. So let's go back. All right, so next thing we can adjust is we can actually change the frequency that we're using. Okay, I think we have a few options here. Traditional chirp, 1500 kilohertz. Okay, you're not really going to see a big change probably with the simulator mode here, 200 and 240 kilohertz. So whatever your preference is there, I just using traditional chirp. I don't really have a preference. If you do have a specific preference, those are the options that you get with this Garmin Striker Vivid 9 SV. Okay, the next thing that you can change, which actually can change quite a bit, is your beam width. So, and this will also change the frequencies, that being said. So in this case, we get our 19-degree cone that comes straight down from the boat. And so we're getting 19 degrees under the boat. If you understand how sonar works, that'll kind of make sense to you. Versus if you want a little more wider beam, so you're actually getting a little bit more stuff showing up on your sonar. So maybe there's still a little bit more off to the sides, but you got that wider cone. So if you're, especially in shallow water, maybe you want that to get a little bit wider swath of what you're seeing. Possibly, if you wanted a narrower cone, for whatever reason, you could go to that higher kilohertz there. You see 16 degrees at 230 kilohertz. We'll get you a narrower cone. You're trying to be really precise. Maybe you're in super deep water and you just want what's right beneath you. But so you have different options there, whatever cone you want. Personally, I haven't really started to mess with this yet. I haven't really seen a need because typically I am using traditional sonar as long as side view as well. And so I have the side view already displayed, so I don't really need to see any more of what's straight below me. All right, so we can go back. That's the beam width. So next, zoom. So we got a few different options here. We could do a bottom lock. So it's kind of interesting. Keeps the bottom in the same spot. So this actually could be really nice, but you're not really able to see the depth changes on the lake because it's specifically holding it in one particular place. So I don't know. It's kind of, if you guys want to, you can do that. So, but it keeps the bottom nice and smooth compared to if we go back to no zoom and go back, oops, traditional sonar, you can see the bottom is not flat there. So it just kind of makes it look flat. Okay, we'll go back into the settings real quick. Zoom, let's take a look. I haven't really looked into these too much. So like two zoom sections. So if you look here, this is like I don't remember exactly what Garmin calls it, but we can show like a detailed level. So if you had a level on your, like if you're in a deep water and you had like a bunch of fish at, let's say 10 to 20 feet, I could zoom down to 10 to 20 and see that signal a lot clearer. Or maybe here right off the bottom, you're wanting to see these fish. Of course, now it's going to change. We could zoom in on just this section here to see what we want. So, and this just look like it's showing what, about 10-foot swath. And if we came over here, we could zoom out to get a bigger swath. Or if you really just wanted to target a certain depth of water, you could zoom in like that. And it'd kind of show both of those. So you got a zoomed in look at some of it. Okay, let's exit that. There's also auto, which I guess is still the double that you want. And there's that split zoom to turn it on and off for that feature. So if you wanted that. We're just going to do no zoom. Okay. Next, I kind of talked about this in some of my other videos. It's pretty much the same for anything you want to set up on the Vivid 9 SV. You can display whatever information you want on the side. So if you want that information displayed when you're just doing your sonar or whatever, you can select whatever information you want. Okay, we also have sonar setup. So we have a depth line. So if we go back, we can see that depth line is going to show up, and you can kind of move that around to see if you want to find where something is. Okay, if we go back in, okay, sonar setup, I'm going to turn that off. Okay, scroll speed, they have a few different scroll speeds. So if you know how fast you're going to be going, or if you just want a certain scroll speed. I have selected the ultra scroll, which basically adjusts the scroll speed based upon your how fast you're traveling, is the way I understand it, to make it look as normal as it should, because otherwise if you speed up or slow down, it could shrink or grow what we're looking at. Okay, so if we go back, okay, appearance, this is where you're going to get into your different color schemes. This is also where we got the edge, so if we turn that on, I can show you what that looks like real quick. Okay, going to kind of show what the bottom should be. That's kind of interesting. Okay, and then we have the A scope. So the A scope is going to be basically a little line on the side of the fish finder that's going to show where you're actually getting hits currently. So if we go back and look at that, that could be useful if you're having a hard time seeing where the fish are. So here's the A scope that we added. And so you can see live where that stuff is showing up. So if you have a fish or something hanging out underneath the boat, you get these lines and you can kind of tell where all that's going on. So if you get a nice yellow hit. Now that being said, if you're moving pretty quick, the scroll can be pretty fast and you might miss it, or maybe you're just sitting there watching that if you're staying in the same spot. Okay, so could be useful depending on what you're doing, how you're fishing. Okay, we'll go back in, sonar setup, still under appearance. Okay, so that was, sorry, A scope. Okay, if you don't like reading sonar, we could do our fish symbols here. So we'll do a little fish, and you can see it'll just be whatever it thinks are fish. Maybe there's some. So it kind of gets rid of a lot of noise in the middle of the water body or water column. And there we go, there's a fish. So it really throws out a lot of noise. So obviously if you know, if you're familiar with traditional sonar, you're probably not going to want this. You want to see what you're actually getting on those returns. And so typically don't have that on, but if you are new and you want something easy to give you where the fish are, boom, there you go, they have that option for you. Okay, so we'll turn that back off. Okay, then lastly, we have all of the color schemes for traditional sonar. Okay, there's quite a few. Pick whatever one really stands out to your eye that you can really tell the differences between. I believe the yellow is standard, and I haven't really found one that shows me any more depth changes. So if you maybe can't see all the colors, maybe you're colorblind or something, this could be nice to pick what you can see, or pick a nice one that allows you to see the different shades, or maybe you just are able to depict different colors better. So that's really nice with all the Vivid series that they came out with those new color schemes. So I'm just going to leave mine on yellow. Okay, another thing we have is noise reject. So we can, one thing is get rid of the surface noise. So basically the top of the sonar, if it's showing any surface noise pretty close to the surface, it's got just some yellow up there at the top, you can turn this on and it will eliminate that. Okay, you can also take a look at interference, and if you go to like high, okay, then if we go back here, it's going to try to take out a lot of that interference. Okay, so it has the option, where was I? Oh. Okay, so you got a few different options here on if you want it to help. Time varying gain. Okay, I guess when you're in the auto gain, how quickly it's going to change that gain. I think that's about it for the traditional sonar. So there's quite a few different settings. You're going to have to kind of play with them. It might even change depending on every body of water, maybe even the day, depending on the clarity of the water. But so there's some things to consider. This is obviously the simulation that we're running here, but it's a nice way to just play with those different settings to be able to learn how your fish finder works, you know, and what those different changes will look like in case one day you're not picking up any fish anywhere and you're like, maybe you need to adjust the gain to pick up more. Maybe I had it set too low. So, alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned something about the Garmin Striker Vivid 9, the traditional sonar. If you have any other questions, please leave them below. I'll try to figure them out and answer them, or if I already know, I'll just answer them. But thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe. I have more content coming. It is starting to warm up. We're going to be going out and actually fishing and actually using this on the water here very soon. I am just waiting for it to warm up just a little bit more. But thank you for watching.